Hi everybody and welcome to Daily Deco. I'm Mark and this here is Shaun,
What up,
bringing
dudes?
you the latest and most
Greatest.
interesting, I suppose, scuba diving news and just kind of underwater news. So the first thing is that we've got another discount code for you a little bit later on in the show. There's not a great deal of change in the sort of Simply Scuba side of things. No new big interesting news, just the new stock is sort of arriving from day to day. So we're going to jump straight into the news. And the first news story is about an aging actor who was first made popular in the early 1970s. He was renowned for just being a nightmare on the set. He just never worked. He was a real just sort of pain to work with.
Proper diva.
A proper diva. He was affectionately named Bruce, and he was the shark in Jaws. And so yeah, basically the only surviving I don't know, what do you call it? An animatronic shark.
Puppet.
Yeah. So they made 4 of these things out of the first sort of cast for the shark, and they just kept breaking down and breaking down and breaking down. And this was the 4th incarnation. And since then, he eventually ended up in like a car wreck yard, like a scrap yard, for a certain number of years. And then when the scrap yards went into sort of administration or liquidation, whatever it was, they donated Bruce, the shark, to a museum, a to-be museum called the Academy Museum, and they've kind of tarted him up and got him back up to sort of what he looked like originally, or if
Put a
not
bit
better.
of litty on him.
Yeah, and yeah, they have sort of brought him into the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures for a new sort of giant big exhibit, yeah, so this is a full-scale model of Jaws' mechanical star, and it was created back in 1975 for the movie Jaws, and yeah, they said he was a bit of a pain to actually get into the museum. One, because he's 25 feet long, so he's quite large. He's quite an unusual shape, and he's also just over 1,200 pounds. So he's quite heavy. But yeah, he's going to be a sort of a museum piece for people to go and view. And yeah, this news story just basically follows. There's a video of them like trying to get him in. But yeah, it is quite cool. And
I'll pin the video in the comments so people can watch it.
But yeah, I love the whole story about Jaws and Bruce and how he just never really worked.
No.
He was a huge sort of pain in the backside. Because
That was good though.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because then you had that suspense of not seeing it, and
you never saw the monster.
Yeah.
Hey. And sticking with sharks that you very rarely see, that's a perfect segue into the next story.
Mate. You're a professional. You are a professional.
I know. So if you mention like shark cage diving to sort of anyone in the diving industry, the first thing that usually crops into their mind is South Africa, because that's where a lot of great white sharks are. So there's a lot of sort of shark cage diving, and ever since 2017, the people that work there have noticed kind of a steady decline in great white shark numbers, and people have blamed it on sort of fishing and all sorts of boating practices and all this kind of stuff. But actually, a recent study has shown that actually it's killer whales. Now, we mentioned this a few months ago. Yeah, where I think this was in California, I believe. But killer whales are basically bullying and hunting great white sharks, and yeah, this study in South African waters has basically found the exact same thing. They found 2 specific orcas, killer whales, that are they're being very Hannibal Lecter. They are hunting down great white sharks and just eating their livers. And yeah, the great white sharks are just, well, they're not running away scared, but they're swimming away scared because their killer whales are actually substantially like bigger and more dangerous. They're pack hunters as well, and great white sharks can't really do much to kind of fight them.
It's weird. It's weird
yeah.
to think of a great white shark basically pooping its pants because of an orca. I mean, I've always known that orcas are killer whales. They're the apex predator. But you think of the ocean, you think of great whites, and like, yeah, they're tough old boys, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're
pointy. Yeah.
No, but they're running away on their legs.
Yeah.
Away from...
Yeah, but I mean, this says that male orcas weigh somewhere between 7 to 10 tons when they're fully grown, so they're big guys. But a great white shark sort of weighs about 2.5 tons. So yeah, they're substantially smaller than a killer whale.
Wow.
And yeah, there seems to be a recurring news story, no matter where it is in the world, whether it's sort of in the Mediterranean, because they're attacking boats now, over on the in the States, the United States, and the Americas in general. Yeah, orcas are kind of branching out and sort of doing their thing, and yeah, now even in South Africa, they're chasing away the great white sharks, or well, they're trying to eat the great white sharks. So yeah, we have a new, like, really serious apex predator that's doing a surprising amount of damage out in the waters. Maybe someone needs to do something about it. Give them something else to do.
SeaWorld. Get them to stick more. We need to take the killer whales out and stick them in tanks.
Turns out SeaWorld were actually saving the ocean after all.
SeaWorld's an orca prison.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Yeah, for the repeat offenders. Because the article was saying that there are two those two killer whales in particular. They're called Port and Starboard, which are very unimaginatively named. I presume one's always on the left, one's always on the right. But yeah, maybe it is a thing where we do have to kind of monitor these killer whales and I don't know, give them something else to hunt. Give them something else to do.
They're going to have to reimagine Jaws, like the Jaws remake, but rather than a great white, it's going to be an orca.
Maybe a killer whale.
A killer whale, yeah. I don't know. What can you do? The thing is, you can't. The only thing you can do is if there's a way of let's say there's a breeding ground of where great whites like to go. Obviously, like in Cape, whatever, in South Africa.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you can do a transmit, like you can put noises in the water that deter orcas, but then also don't interfere with sharks, or there's got to be some sort of system where it attracts the sharks, but it deters the orcas.
Possibly. Or do we just let nature do its thing?
That's the thing.
Yeah,
the only reason the only reason why we're up in arms about this is because it's affecting cage diving. If that area wasn't doing that, we wouldn't know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, tourism is affected because they're not sort of going in and sort of, or they're still trying, but it's like, oh, I didn't see a great white shark. It's like, sorry, here's your money back, I guess.
Has anyone got is there not shark bait, but when you call a cat, you shake the food, you go on the wall. Here, sharky.
Some orca nip.
Yeah.
try and tease the orcas away.
Maybe that's it though, or it could be a case of rather than cage diving for great whites, you cage dive for orcas.
Maybe. I mean, if you really go to the sort of systemic issue, it's probably the fact that we're sort of catching all of the herring and all the kind of stuff that orcas usually feed on, and they're like, oh, well, that food isn't here, I'm going to search around, see if I can find something else. So maybe we just need to stop overfishing the oceans. Maybe that would help as well. But who knows? It's not for us to say. We just speculate about this kind of stuff. But today's episode of Daily Deco, again, is sponsored by our very own Teespring store. We still have a discount code that's running up until the end of the year, I believe.
Well, it wasn't, but now we were going to end it in November, but it's
I
doing.
promise it's running until the end of 2020 because 2020 has sucked, hasn't it? So we're going to extend the 15% off offer until December 31st, and then we will switch it off. So if you want some scuba diving merchandise, then head over to our Teespring store. It'll be all sort of linked down in the comments below. On the YouTube side of things, there will probably be a little banner as well, which will show a few of the t-shirts. We're uploading new designs sort of all the time. The other day I uploaded a new one, which is my emotional support bolt snap. My one's already on the way. Shaun is a big fan of bolt snap, so he fully endorses this t-shirt. He moved it right up to the top of the store. So
I saw you did that as well. I saw you did that. I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna buy one, put it on a stick, and set it on fire.
On effigy,
and then stamp it out. Fight the power, anti-bolt. I'm anti-bolt snap. You get the anti-vaxxers. I'm an anti-bolt snap.
But yeah, so we still have a 15% off discount code. If you use the code Daily Deco at checkout, that'll get you 15% off. But what we would like you to do, because we're seeing lots and lots of sort of orders going through, which is wonderful, we'd actually like to see you wearing them. So if you could sort of get yourself a picture, upload it onto Instagram, and then if you could sort of tag us sort of at simplyscuba on that would be wonderful. You can also use the hashtag Daily Deco and all that kind of stuff, so that we can sort of start sort of splashing around, seeing the love,
and if a lot of you do this, maybe in the new year we might sort out a competition. Maybe just saying.
Yeah, we have discussed a competition, but that's all dependent on you. So yeah, if you are very photogenic and you do like sort of wearing our merchandise, then yeah, definitely put it online, and then we'll discuss a potential competition in the new year. Moving swiftly on. This next news story comes from NAUI. If you don't know NAUI is another one of the pretty big sort of training agencies. I think they're more predominantly like the sort of South Pacific. That's where they tend to do a lot of their stuff, but they're becoming bigger and bigger and a bit more global. They've announced that they're freezing membership fees for 2021.
Makes a lot of sense.
But which is nice because obviously instructors haven't been doing anything. NAUI is a bit different from a lot of the other training agencies in that it is a non-profit, so they're not really interested in sort of making a profit out of their courses. So what they're also doing is they're offering, if you're an instructor with a different training agency, if you want to become a NAUI instructor, you can cross over for free, which is wonderful, because it's good for the instructors, because if you do have these multiple cert cards and you can certify sort of different agencies, that way more people can come to you. I know some training agencies do try and make you exclusive, which does make it a little bit tricky. But yeah, it's a nice sort of offer. They're also offering your first 5 certifications for free.
That's amazing.
So for those of you who don't know, as an instructor, when you certify a student, you have to pay a certification fee. So yeah, every time we qualify someone, it actually costs us a bit of money. So they're knocking off the first 5,
That's awesome.
just to get you sort of kick-started in the NAUI way of doing things. So yeah, this is nice. PADI
really
did something.
Good.
Yeah,
That's
PADI
really
did something very similar.
Did they though?
Well,
they didn't freeze things, did they? They didn't. They offered like you pay a bit now and then you pay a bit later.
Yeah. They said that the prices weren't going to increase, and they also sort of gave you a few sort of payment options just to make it a bit more flexible. They came in certain circles. They came under a certain amount of flack.
I was going to say, yeah.
But yeah, sort of NAUI, they're doing what they can. They can't really refund sort of every instructor fee.
What they're doing now is the best way. This is a model that PADI should have gone down. That because they got a lot of heat for what they were doing. Obviously, they're a business and you got to make money. Yeah. And obviously, they're the biggest business in the world. But in theory, their pockets potentially are a little bit deeper than a non-profit. But a non-profit are freezing prices, freezing memberships, and they're allowing free crossover and, like you say, 5 free certs.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's how everything, how diving industries or training industries should, that sort of model. That's a perfect way. And it would not surprise me if they get a lot of business by doing this. There's going to be a lot of people that are upset with PADI, and they're probably, if they can, they're probably going to jump off onto this sort of platform.
Yeah, looking at NAUI and going, you know what? And yeah, if it's free, because normally instructor courses are bonkers expensive. If you thought your open water was expensive, train to be an instructor. That's not cheap. So I think this is quite a big incentive, and it's a huge sort of not gamble, but it's a huge play for NAUI. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see sort of how.
What have they got to lose at the end of the day? You know.
Yeah.
I know they're a non-profit, but no one's going diving at the moment anyway. So they had a bit of a rough year. So next year, yes, they won't. In turn, they might not be making as much money to pay off people. But if people are walking around, spreading the word of the NAUI way, the NAUI training, that word of mouth is superior to anything.
Yeah.
Because then more people will go over to them than say PADI, BZAC, SSI, whoever. Yeah, I think it's great. In fact, I was going to take the angle of the video for the Orcas, but I'm now going to promote NAUI in the title. So the title of this video is going to be NAUI related. I don't know what it is yet, because I've only just decided to do
bombshell. Is the future of diving NAUI? Is NAUI the way the world learns to dive?
Oh yeah. Oh.
That's like PADI's
I know. That's why I'm doing that. It'd be funny, so poking the bear a bit.
Yeah, because that's never hurt us before, has it?
No, bear. We never had the head of PADI UK phoning up our CEO because of a video that we made. I got so eggy over that video. It's a fantastic video, but I was so, you were so adamant. It's like, we're not taking it down.
It was, that was a fun week. And, it's like, I'm just gonna get on with my other work that I do, and just is that meme of the dog with the burning house, and just like, this is fine.
And it was alright in the end. It was alright. Yeah. At the end of the day, PADI, they never got back to us about that, did they? We were going to do a whole video series.
Yeah, they did want to sort of do a video just kind of discussing the issues with us, and it I think it just sort of ended up as like, well, actually, you know what? We weren't attacking PADI, we weren't sort of berating them. It was literally, a lot of other divers think this about sort of PADI, and
it was very common knowledge what we said.
Yeah, it was. We weren't like putting the dagger in and twisting it. It was just, this is what's going on. Maybe, it is worth addressing these issues.
It's not our fault that everyone pretty much agreed with the video and it blew up. Yeah.
And I think they kind of jumped upon the first joke because they didn't really get our sense of humor. And it's just like, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. But anyway,
moving on.
The final news story comes from Scotland, and this is kind of a scuba, not the worst nightmare of a scuba diver, but it is quite a worrying one, where you basically surface after the dive and you can't see your boat. Usually it's down to diver error or sort of the environment, and a sort of a rip current just kind of whizzes you away. But actually this one was down to boat failure. So this was a group of divers off of the island of Skye, and they had a brand new boat. This was the first ever trip, and they went to this dive site. They all sort of jumped in the water, but then whilst they were on their dive, the boat motor basically just conked out, and it just drifted away. Luckily, the dive master, whoever was on board, was very sharp on it. They called emergency services, and by the time that the first sort of group of divers surfaced, the RNLI, the lifeboat crew, was already on their way. I think they waited like 2 minutes or something,
Nice.
which is amazing. So so the first set of divers, they were attempting to climb onto a different boat just to get out of the water, but because it wasn't a diving boat, it was really hard, so it had very high sides and all that kind of stuff. So they attempted to get back on, but by the time, even before they could get on, the lifeboat crew was already sort of with them, and they're like, nah, do you want to hop on here? And they're like, yes, please. So the whole ordeal, I think it took less than 2 hours to collect all the divers and get them all back and sort the boat out. But yeah, it's just one of those things of they had this brand new boat, and the RNLI said that they were fully tricked out. They had all the equipment, all the dive equipment, all this kind of stuff, brand new shiny boat, and it is just some bad luck. The engine conked out, and the boat just started to drift away.
Did they find the boat? I'm guessing.
Oh yeah. There was still someone on board, but
because I was going to say what would be brilliant. I mean, obviously now no one got hurt, but the boat itself sunk, and then they get a new boat to then dive their old boat.
Well, that happened in the Red Sea, and that was on a liveaboard, I believe. I think it's happened a couple of times, to be honest. There's one called White Knight, and that was there was a shipwreck there, and on one of them it was a liveaboard. Everybody sort of went in for a dive as per usual. A fire broke out on the liveaboard whilst everyone was under the water, because whilst you're under the water, the crew, they're all sort of cleaning things. They get all the hoovers out and all that stuff, and using all of this sort of electricity, it just overloaded the electronics. It caused a fire, and people were literally on their safety stop, and their liveaboard just kind of sunk and just sort of went past them. So it is one of those things, and you sort of half joke about it when you're sort of on a liveaboard. It's like, oh, do you want to dive a liveaboard? But no, this one it stayed afloat. It's just the engine conked out, so it had no power. But I think they managed to sort of tow it back to safety or something. But yeah, it is one of those things, and you're like, oh yeah, what if the boat just stops working? I was watching a documentary, like these ambulance shows where it follows like an ambulance crew. This one follows an RNLI, so lifeboat crew, and this guy, he had bought a yacht, I forget where, and he was sailing it back home. But as he was sailing it back home over like a whole bunch of days, he realised that a lot of the features that he thought it had, it actually didn't, and he sailed just an incy bit too close to the coast, and couldn't recover it because it got caught in a tide, and it was just getting smashed against the rocks. Oh. Luckily, he got out and he managed to get to shore safely, but he was just sort of sat on a rock on the shore watching his brand new yacht just getting smashed against the rocks just over and over again. And even the lifeboat crew were like, right, this is going to be a tricky sort of access, because if we get too close, then we're just going to join it. But after they managed to sort of rescue him, get him back onto their rib, you just in the background they got this sort of yacht that's just, all you hear is just like crunch, and you're like, oh, that just feels expensive. To anyone who not even owns a boat but has been around boats, that's a bad noise. A little tender on the or a fender on the side, that ain't gonna help. Very, very expensive.
Like I said,
that can be sold. It has a happy ending.
It can be fixed with gaffer tape.
Duct tape. Yeah. You can fix any boat hole with a bit of gaffer tape.
Or Aldite glue. What's that expanding foam stuff?
Yeah. Nothing has ever gone bad using that.
No, not at all.
That's it for news stories for today. Shaun just wants to mention that to remind you guys that this show is available as a podcast, so you can listen to it on the go. Pardon me. You don't have to sort of watch us. You can sort of listen to us as well, if you so wish. So is it, I presume, anywhere you get your podcast?
Yeah, literally. So it's because of the RSS feed thing. Anywhere you can get a podcast. Like what do I want to say? So basically, when I look at the stats and it shows us where people like listen to our podcast and stuff, so I don't remember signing at least 20 of these sites where people listen to us on the podcast. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even know these existed. Because they basically just tap into the RSS feed or whatever it's called, and then it appears on their podcast. But yeah, Spotify, if you're on Spotify, that would be amazing if you can follow us, like our episodes. And I don't know if the links are clickable on there. Although I know they were. I don't know if they are now. But if you could click on the link on there as well, just head over to our Teesprings or whatever. You know, a bit more traffic basically. Basically, what's happening is we started obviously with a nice juicy spike at the beginning, which we knew would happen because it's been 6 months since we made a video, and it's plateaued, which is good. So it's gone flat. So it hasn't gone down. It's basically, it's getting there. But yeah, I think. And also, sorry, we're getting a couple of questions in our comments on our video saying, "Oh, do you have a podcast? Do you have a podcast?" It's like, yes, we do. So, yeah, I think we just need to reiterate that you don't have to watch us. You can listen to us on your journey to work, your commute to, going to the shops once lockdown's finished. Again, the majority of our viewers on the podcast are American, so that doesn't apply to you because you guys don't have lockdown yet.
Well, I think some places maybe do.
Yeah, I guess it's all to do with the state, isn't it?
Yeah, different states and different
regulations.
Sort of area. Yeah. I think some places might have lockdowns. But
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we just wanted to try. I just wanted to say yes. This is a podcast. We have a podcast. So yeah, just go follow us on wherever you can get your podcast. If you are on Spotify, Apple Music, those are the big boys that give us a lot of detail on who's watching, how long they're watching or listening, should I say. So yeah, they're kind of the best platforms where we can get and pull as much advice. And also as well, if you want to, if you're on SoundCloud, so that is the actual original platform. So we upload the podcasts to SoundCloud. So if you are on SoundCloud, follow us on there as well. Not that it goes live there any sooner. It goes live at the same time everywhere. But if you're on SoundCloud, please give us a follow as well.
Cool.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, podcasts. Listen to us. And also as well, if you want new, Mark. If you want new podcast, like obviously all we do is rip the audio from this show, and obviously put it on the web. But if you want any other podcasts, any other talks, any other podcast shows, let us know, because in the future when we have a studio, not that Daily Deco is going to get cold, but obviously we're probably going to revert back to Daily Scuba news. A bit more streamlined, a bit more manageable, scripted as well helps.
Yes, yeah, much easier when we actually put some effort in.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want any shows that you want podcast wise, let us know in the comments as well. And then new year, new studio. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get that sorted.
Yeah, okie dokie. As ever, if you have any news stories that you found in your travels online that you want us to sort of talk about, pop it down in the comments below. Any questions, comments, queries, all those kind of stuff, again, pop them down in the comments below. All of the questions will be put in the Friday show, the Q&A show, where I basically just elaborate on your questions, so it's a little bit more personal. Thank you for watching, and of course, safe diving.
Stay classy, scuba divers.